Hello, I'm James, and welcome to a Jonesing for Film franchise review. This week I'll be reviewing the Oceans series. So first up is 2001's Ocean's 11. Ocean's 11 stars George Clooney as Danny Ocean, a con artist who is just released from prison. And his first order of business is to get a crew together to rob 3 casinos owned by the same man, Terry Benedict, played by Andy Garcia, who Ocean has a personal issue with. Now, prior to this review, I had only seen this film once back when it first came out. I remember enjoying it, but for some reason never watched it again. Which is odd because this is a very fun heist film. George Clooney is one of the best actors of this generation, hands down. And he is so cool in this role. Also cool was Brad Pitt, and the banter between Clooney and Pitt was priceless. Everyone else was good, but I found them to be a little underused. I mean, you got a great cast here. Bernie Mac, Don Cheadle, Casey Affleck, Scott Conn, the list goes on. And as much as I love big casts, not every character here gets enough development. And some of these characters you hardly ever see. Another thing I enjoyed about this film was its sense of humor, which I find is a big thing to have in a heist film. Heist films, to me, need to be funny, because all these outlandish things happen, like the over-the-top security systems, and the fact that you have to suspend reality when they overcome their obstacles. So if it tries to be serious, it might actually fail. So with heist films, they need to be self-conscious and just have fun with it, which that's the case here. This film had me cracking up. I also really enjoyed the old school feel the film has. And there's 2 reasons why I got that feeling out of this movie. First reason is the music. It's an upbeat jazz style and also helps with the movie's pace as well as its atmosphere. And the second reason, and probably the more important reason, is it's a remake of a film from 1960. So I like that they kept the old school feel rather than completely modernize the film. And before you ask, no, I haven't seen the 1960s film. So when all is said and done, I give Ocean's 11 a superb. If you enjoy heist films, I recommend checking it out. Now we move on to 2004's Ocean's 12. So 3 years after, here's a spoiler alert, Ocean and his team pull off the casino heist, big shocker there. Benedict hunts them down and tells them they have 2 weeks to return his money plus interest or things are going to get ugly. Now the team has to gather $190 million, all while dealing with a rival thief and a Europol agent who specializes in catching thieves. Now, just like the first film, I had only seen this film once prior to this review. And I remember feeling very long, and I found myself phasing in and out of it. And this time I didn't phase in and out, but I still did find it very long. But let me talk about what I liked first. Once again, the acting is great. The original cast returns with Catherine Zeta-Jones and Vincent Cassel thrown into the mix, and everyone does a really good job. I also like the way the film is shot. This time the caper is taken to different parts of the globe, and the wide shots of every new location is great. I mean, we got Paris, we got Rome, we got Amsterdam, a lot of great scenery. And the humor is also really good, but it's not as good as the first film. Now on to the problems that I had. First off, the premise. While I like the idea of Benedict hunting down Ocean and his team demanding his money, it just gets lost amongst everything else that happens. Rather than being the forefront of the movie, it's just the spark that sets everything off. Aside from someone saying, we have such and such amount of time to get Benedict's money, that part of the story is almost non-existent because of the multiple stories that get thrown into the mix. And you would think that multiple storylines would add to the development of the characters from the first film. Nope. The multiple storylines are here to develop new additions, meaning we get even less development from the original characters, who are hardly developed in the first place. And I guess they felt that they developed Clooney's character to his full extent in the last film because he's hardly in this one. Yeah, the character whose name is the title barely has any screen time. That's my biggest problem with films that have such a huge cast. How do you split 2 hours evenly between roughly 15 characters? So overall, Ocean's 12 gets an average. There's just too much going on and the film just drags. Finally, we have 2007's Ocean's 13. After Ocean's friend Ruben helps out hotel owner Willie Bank build a new casino, he's double-crossed and cut out of the deal. Now Ocean brings his team together in order to get some revenge against Bank. Now this was the only Ocean film I hadn't seen prior to this review. In fact, I can't even remember seeing any trailers to this one, so I kind of went into this one blind. And I gotta say, I enjoyed Ocean's 13. I didn't enjoy it as much as Film 1, but it did have aspects that made Film 1 so good and less of what made Film 2 so bad. So after being let down by Film 2's lack of character development, this time I just went in expecting the same amount of development the previous films had and just focused on the job they were pulling. And I think that that's the key to really enjoying these films. Does it redeem Ocean's 12? Not really, because the character development was only one problem amongst a bunch of problems. But I'm getting off topic. Ocean's 13 is the true sequel to Ocean's 11. This film went back to the roots of Film 1. The acting was solid as expected. My favorite performance had to have been Al Pacino. He was really fun in this one. The location returned to Vegas again, therefore it's another casino job like the first film. There's only one plot focus this time, which was a big drawback from Ocean's 12. And while each character didn't get fully developed, they did at least get an equal amount of screen time. And of course, the humor and banter is also very strong, just like the first film. There are, however, a few gripes. First, while the film is fun, it does feel a little long. It was like they felt they were required to make it 2 hours long, so they threw in all these obstacles to draw out the runtime. Also, at the beginning, it does get a tad difficult to remember which character is doing what job and why they're doing it, but when the job goes into motion, the pieces start falling into place. So my final verdict on Ocean's 13 is an excellent. It brought back what was great about Ocean's 11, but to a lesser degree, leaving 11 the best of the series. So that is my take on the Oceans franchise. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe. Also, don't forget to visit me on Facebook and check out my blog. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next review.